this video, I'm gonna show you 10 super easy Minecraft farms that you can literally build in just 1 minute. And the best thing, they will give you all the important resources that you need for your survival world. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Now, one of the resources that you can never have enough of is, of course, gold. And yes, I'm not exaggerating, you can literally build a gold XP farm in just 1 minute. Let me show you how. First of all, for this, we need to go into the nether. And to be more specific, we need to find a nether waste biome. You know, the one that kind of sort of looks like the legacy quote-unquote nether. In this biome, you now ideally want to find a location where you have somewhat of a nice flat area. That's perfect for piglin spawns. Now, the first thing we want to do is place down a nether portal and activate it so that we can use it as a gate to go in and out of the farm. Then, somewhere near to the portal, you're gonna dig out 2 blocks and put a double chest into that, followed by 4 more blocks into which you will put hoppers that are all pointing into the collection chest. On top of these hoppers, you're now gonna place down carpets. Next, to the left and the right of this construction, you want to place down normal building blocks that are at least 2 blocks high. Make sure that no piglins can get on top of here. Then, place down 4 trapdoors like I do here over the chest. And all you really gotta do then is draw this 2-block high wall all the way around your nether portal. I personally here left the backside of the portal open because there's a cliff so nobody can come in anyway, but if you're somewhere in an open area, you wanna make the wall all around the portal. Finally, place down 2 scaffolding like I do right here. You could also use ladders if you like, and all you then gotta do to start the farm is shoot an arrow at one of the zombified piglins that spawn nearby. This will then aggro absolutely everybody around you, which will make them walk right into your trap. You can then just attack them with a sword through this hole here. And by the way, if you want to see a much more efficient gold farm, then check out the video in the info card later on, because I already have a guide on that too. Up next, let's talk about another very great resource, and that would be Cactus. Let me show you how to make a super quick and easy cactus farm. Starting out, we do by making an 11 by 11 square with normal building blocks on the ground. Inside of this, we're going to place down sand blocks just like I do right here, leaving a 1-block gap to all sides. Then make a 3-block deep hole right in the middle and dig yourself a little trench like I do right here to get in and out of the farm later. By the way, if it's dark inside, then definitely place down a torch because you wouldn't want to have any creepers spawning in here now, would you? Also, place down a collection chest and then a hopper pointing into it. This is where the cactus is later going to be washed into. Next, what you want to do is place down fence posts 3 blocks in the air, exactly in the positions that you see in the background right here. If you did it right, then it should look somewhat like this now, and it will make it that when the cacti grow higher, they automatically break and fall down. And speaking of cacti, now would be the time to place down cactus blocks on top of all the sand that we laid out. Be careful, if you don't do it in creative like I do here, you might take a little bit of damage. And once that's done, place down water in all 4 corners of the farm. The water will later wash all the cactus blocks into our collection system. And now, all that's left to do is a wall all around the whole thing. I personally use glass, but you could take whichever block you like. Oh, and by the way, you don't only have to make 1 layer like this, you could make a whole cactus tower to massively increase the rates. In order to do that, just place a bunch of top slabs like I do right here, leave the hole in the middle open, and repeat the entire process on top. You now have a fully automatic cactus farm, which you can either turn into green dye to get experience or sell it for emeralds, or alternatively turn the cactus into bone meal to fuel other types of farms that we're going to take a look at later on. Before that though, it would be really cool if you could leave a quick like for the video because it helps so much with the YouTube algorithm, especially for smaller channels like mine. Thank you so much for your support. This right here is the easiest auto sorter in Minecraft. It uses copper golems, so no crazy redstone needed. Here's all the materials that you need, and now let's go. Starting out, we do by placing down 9 double chests just like I show in the background right here. Once you're done with the chests, go to the back side, place down a staircase like I do right here, followed by 2 temporary blocks on the side. On top of these blocks, you're now going to place down 2 fences, and then afterwards delete the temporary blocks. Up next, what you want to do is, behind the staircase, place 2 temporary blocks on top of each other, and then on top of that, 1 slab, delete the temporary blocks, and put another slab under the slab you just placed. This way, you block the path in a way that the copper golem can't get out on the back. Now, up next, we want to put down a copper chest right here on the side of the bottom slab, and this is where, in the end, we're going to throw in all the items that we want to be sorted. Then, on the other side, next to the top slab, you want to put another double chest like I do right here, and this chest is going to be the one that the copper golems are later going to sort those items into that they can't find any proper space for in our 9 main chests. It's the leftover chest, so to speak. Finally, of course, we also need to add a copper golem, and the way we get a copper golem is actually pretty darn easy. Just place down a couple of temporary blocks over the staircase block, and then put the copper block all the way in the hole, followed by the pumpkin, and then go around the farm and remove the little copper chest it created. Now, you have just the golem standing in the middle of the farm, or if you wanted to, you could of course add multiple copper golems on top of each other, increasing the sorting speed even further. Okay. One thing that we always do in every Minecraft world is smelting stuff in ovens. So this right here is the easiest way that you could automate the process. As always, we start out with a double chest to collect our smelted items. I personally want to keep this smelter a bit smaller, so what I do is place down 6 hoppers, all pointing into the chest. On top of these hoppers, we now want to place down our furnaces. And of course, on top of these furnaces, we now want to place down even more hoppers pointing into said furnaces, through which we're later gonna fill them. On the backside, we now want to make a second row of hoppers that are going to be pointing into the backside of the furnaces. This is where we're going to put in the fuel. Next, place down 1 normal building block on each end of the hopper row. On the side of those building blocks, you now place down redstone blocks. Finally, on both sides, build up a little tower by 3 building blocks just like I do right here. If you did it right, then it should now look somewhat like this. And now it is time to place down the rails. Put down powered rails on top of the redstone blocks and normal rails on top of the hoppers and everything else. Finally, against the little towers that we build, we want to place down some chests into which we're later going to put our items. Into the top chests, you want to put down the items you want to smelt, and into the lower chests, put down the fuel sources. Could be coal, could be lava buckets, whatever you like. And now, all that's left to do is place down 2 hopper minecarts and give them a good push so they start moving left and right. They will now pull out the resources of the chests and distribute them equally between all the furnaces. And speaking of furnaces, the best fuel source for all the smelting would of course be lava buckets. So let me show you how to get infinite lava in just 1 minute. First of all, start by placing a row of cauldrons. You can really make it as big as you like. I personally here only use 5. Then build 4 blocks high, like I do right here, and place a row of normal building blocks right over these cauldrons. These floating blocks you now want to turn into a little platform. I personally use slabs and glass blocks to make it look nice, but you can really use whichever materials you like here. Then, on this platform, we will put down lava and build a roof over it. I personally use slabs for this so that no mobs can spawn on top of here. And then, all you really gotta do is place down 5 pointed dripstones under the 5 blocks that the lava is on, and as you can see right here, those pointed dripstones will now over time automatically fill up the cauldrons that you can then take the lava from once they're full. Wish you a lot of fun with the smelting. And by the way, if you want to see more great Minecraft guides easily explained, then you might want to think about maybe leaving the channel a sub, because there is so much more to come here. Welcome to the crew! Okay. One of the most important things in every Minecraft survival world is, of course, food. However, farming crops the normal way, that can be pretty slow. So here's how you make the smallest and also most efficient crop farm in the game. First of all, place down 1 bucket of water into a little hole. Then turn 1 block of dirt into farmland and place 3 dispensers, all in a way that their front is pointing right towards this farmland block. On top of the middle dispenser, you now want to put an observer with the face pointing down and the redstone end up. Next, close up one side of this farm with normal building blocks like I do right here, and on the other side, you want to place down one redstone on the floor like this, and also place down a lever on the dispenser on this side, before closing the top with normal building blocks too. Next, we want to place down a line of redstone on top of every block of this farm. On the top in the middle, place a piston facing out like this. Lastly, put a staircase in front of the farm like I show right here, and now you can flick the lever to turn the farm on. If you did everything right, then the piston should now rapidly go in and out like this. All you then need to do is fill all the dispensers with as much bone meal as possible, go onto the side right here, and hold right-click on the farmland with any type of crop that you want to grow. It will now rapidly grow all the crops that you're planting. Another very important resource that really every Minecraft player needs a ton of is, of course, wood in all shapes and forms. So here's how you make a super quick and easy automatic tree farm. Start out by placing down a dispenser and then put 2 redstone torches to the side of it. On top of these redstone torches, you now want to place down normal building blocks, and on one side, add a lever so you can turn the farm on and off. Lastly, you also want to put down redstone on top of the dispenser. Next, to the side of the dispenser, you now want to place down a tower of 7 pistons, all facing like I show right here in the background. On top of this piston tower, you now also want to place 2 normal blocks just to make sure that the highest types of trees can't grow here. Okay, the next step is very important, so do it exactly like I show right here. Stand in front of the dispenser, look into the other direction, and place down a comparator. Then add a block on the other side of this comparator and put down a redstone torch on this block, just like I show right here. Make sure that everything is exactly in the position as it is in the video. Lastly, all we need to do is place a quote-unquote redstone stair to make it that every piston is going to be activated at the same time. The blocks and the torches need to be exactly in these positions, otherwise it's not gonna work. And once that's finished, you can turn on the farm with a lever and sit down in a little dirt hole on the side here, placing down saplings on the floor in front of the dispenser, which will then be rapidly grown with the bone meal, and whenever a tree grows, the redstone signal will instruct the pistons to push the tree away, rinse, and repeat. As we previously mentioned, having early food is very important for survival, and one of the best sources of food is, of course, grilled meat. So, what I have right here is a very nice chicken farm that will not only give you tons of chicken, but also quite some early XP. Start out by building a dispenser and a hopper pointing into it. Then, behind that, you want to build a simple redstone on-off signal, like I do right here, with 3 normal building blocks, 3 redstone torches, and 1 redstone in the middle. You can now put a lever on it and connect this redstone signal to the dispenser. Then add another hopper on top and build said hopper into a platform of 9 hoppers in total. All of these should in some way or another point into the hopper that goes into the dispenser. Then make those 9 hoppers into a proper platform with a wall around it. The wall, by the way, needs to be 2 blocks high at least. On the bottom then, in front of the dispenser, you want to build a little 3 by 2 block space, also with 2 block high walls around it, like I show right here. You then want to place a storage chest in the middle, like this, and surround it with 5 hoppers that are all pointing into it. On the back hoppers, you now want to place down carpet, and on top of the front hoppers, you want to put down bottom slabs so that only a little slit remains. Now, finally, all you gotta do is spawn a whole bunch of chickens on the 9 hopper platform at the top, which will then lay eggs that all end up in the dispenser, which will spawn new chickens at the bottom. Once they're grown up, they will give you a ton of meat and also experience at the same time. Okay. This one is probably going to be the shortest build in the entire video, but it is still a very nice farm and gives you tons of fish completely AFK. First, we're going to start out by digging 2 blocks down into the ground and placing a chest inside the hole. Then, dig out another block to the side of the chest, into which you're going to place a hopper pointing into said chest. On top of this hopper, you now want to put down 1 fence post, onto which you will place the heavyweight pressure plate. Dig out another block next to the hopper and place a note block just like I show right here. On top of the node block, you're now going to put a normal building block, can really be whatever you want, and an iron trapdoor just like this. Finally, all you gotta do is place a bucket of water on the fence post, and that is already it. You can now stand on top of the chest and right-click the node block with your fishing rod. You just need to hold down right mouse button. Enjoy all the fish! And last but definitely not least, one resource that you always need a ton of, especially if you want to enchant, would be sugarcane. So here is one of the easiest sugarcane farms you can build. First off, you want to start out by building a row of mud blocks. Because sugarcane needs to border water in order to be able to grow, we're now going to part off a little area next to the mud blocks and fill it up with water. Over this water, we now build one row of normal building blocks, and on top of that row, we place down a row of pistons, all facing towards the mud blocks. Next, we need one row of observers that we will place on top of the pistons. The redstone ending of the observer is pointing to the back. Then, build another row of normal building blocks like this, and a second one that is right behind the observers. In this little gap that remains, we will now place down one row of redstone, which makes sure that all the pistons are connected with all the observers. We can now go and place down our sugarcane, and of course, close up the farm on the front. I personally use glass for this because I think it looks cool, but technically you could use any type of building block you want. As our last step, of course, we now also need to pick up the sugarcane that we farm, so in order to do that, we want to build a little tunnel under the farm, so that we can then put a row of hoppers under the mud blocks that are all pointing into one storage chest. These hoppers will now pick up the sugarcane through the mud blocks, and as you can see right here, all the loot is gonna end up in our chest. And if you made it all the way till here, then definitely also check out my super easy iron farm. See you next time, and until then, craft well.